Hey guys, how are you doing today? I see four people here, Cole, Felicia, Bethany, and Casey. We've got about 3 more minutes, so we'll wait for people to trickle in, and then we can start talking. We're going to have, just so you know, we're going to have India with us today, and she's also going to bring two of her friends who are also upperclassmen to talk about study skills. So today's lesson's about study skills. Um, I would guess that of the four of you that are here, five of you counting India, um, at least half of you have probably already had a midterm, haven't you? India, have you had a midterm yet? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, that's a good start. All right, well, we'll wait for some more people to get here. Um, I'll go ahead and pull up my attendance for the day. We'll get started on that at 9 o'clock. Attendance. You guys feel free to go ahead and turn on your video if you want to. I'm not gonna force you to do it. I might change the default setting so that the default is video on instead of video off. It's a little bit weird talking to a room full of gray screens. Cole is here. That's good. I think I saw Casey. That's good. Bethany is here. India is here. Felicia is here. Chance is here. Let's see. Who do we see? Madison is not here yet. I think I saw McKinley. She's here. Good. Marina's iPhone is here. I think that's Marina Smart. Good. Starting to see more people come in. Braden. Braden is here. Let's see. Ben Kenzie. Yep. Benjamin Kenzie. Good. Braden, Ben. Good. So far, so good. We're waiting on Madison Shelton, Jacob Thomas, basically all the end of the alphabet people. Wesley Tyler, Kobe Westling, Tatum Willis. So we'll give them a couple more minutes to roll in. Oh, there's Wes. Wes Tyler is showing us his roof, his ceiling, which looks to be in decent condition. That's good. Um, I hope you're not showing us anything hidden behind your ceiling tiles up there. So we're waiting on Maddie, Jacob, Kobe, and Tatum. So just four people. We'll give them another couple of minutes. Show of hands of those of you that have your video on. Those of you that don't have your video on, I want you to use the reaction button and wave a hand or clap or something if this applies to you. How many of you have already had at least one midterm exam? Nobody? Really? I guess all of you are taking foundations and then something else. So you'd only have one other class. Well, that's good. I know that my Latin 101 class had their first midterm exam yesterday. So it's the season for it. And if you haven't had any exams yet, then that's all the better because we're going to talk about studying today. If you have, then you'll know that this is relevant for you. All right, I see Tatum rolled in. Good. We're waiting on Kobe, Jacob, and Maddie. I don't think any of them is here in the screen with us yet. Well, it's 9:02. Oh, wait. Oh, Madison Shelton says she's here. Good. Shelton, check. So it's just Jacob and Kobe that we're waiting on right now. Good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and start going around the room talking about, your weeks. And then we're going to have a quick little thing. Oh, wait, who rolled in now? Did I lose somebody or did I gain somebody there? I don't know. I don't see Wesley or Kobe or Jacob yet. So,
I'm in here.
oh, who's here?
Kobe.
Kobe. Yeah, great. All right, I gained somebody. Good deal.
Me too.
Jacob's here too?
Yep.
Oh, great. All right. Everybody's here. Super. So let's start going around the room then, and happies and crappies, just to sort of talk about how the week went, and then we'll get into study skills. We've got India here. India, do you want to introduce your friends for us before we get started?
Yeah, they're over here. This is Katie, and then this is Amber.
Oh, do I remember Amber? Yeah, I know Amber. Good. And you want to let everybody know what their majors are?
Katie is psychology, and Amber is biomed.
Yeah, great. Super. So, and your major again is?
I'm elementary ed.
Elementary ed. So the point of getting three people together was so that you could have three different perspectives from upperclassmen about what made their study skills and habits work for them. So this is all for you guys to sort of help process upcoming exams, either for this half semester or next semester. But before we do that, let's go around the room and talk about what's good and bad in the week so far. Wesley, you want to start?
Something good that happened would probably be classes are going pretty good, and something bad would probably be that I had to write 3 essays yesterday.
3 essays. Jeez, that's a lot for 2 classes.
Yeah.
Do you have 3 classes right now?
No, 3. 3.
Man, whew, that's a doozy. All right, well, hang with it. Felicia, how about you? Happies and crappies, Felicia.
Sorry, my connection went out, and so
That's all right.
everything was frozen.
That's all right.
A happy is that I got to see my best friend for her birthday last week, and
That's nice.
then a crappy. I don't know. I don't really have one right now.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Good. Bethany, what about you?
It's just been an okay week. I don't really have happy or crappy.
All right. All right. Give me at least one highlight of the week. Highlight or low light, your choice.
Well, I guess today I have a Zoom call for ministry team, so that's kind of the first time we're getting together.
Oh, good. All right. Glad to hear it. Chance, how about you?
Happy is we've had our first scrimmage, live batting practice for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I did pretty good. And then crappy is just all the homework.
What's the biggest homework load for you so far?
Probably foundations in Spanish. Just
Yeah.
I constantly have hours of homework with each one.
So Spanish languages are always, I'm a language teacher, right? I'm a Latin teacher. Language classes are hefty, right? Because you got to put in the effort to learn the stuff, and usually it's spread out over an entire semester. And this format's really tough. The foundations classes have a lot of reading, and those two things together, I can imagine, could be kind of hard. I hope what that means is that your second half of the semester will be a little bit easier. I'm teaching foundations and Latin 101 right now, so it's both like a heavy reading class and a heavy sort of memorizing class, but I'm looking forward to an easier second half of the semester.
Yeah, I only have one class next semester.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah. All right. Good for you, Jake. How about you? Happy crappy?
Yeah. My happy would be. I haven't had a bad week. It's just the first thing that comes to mind. My sister brought our dog to campus last night, so
That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
What kind of dog?
He's a black lab mix.
Oh, those are the best.
Yeah, his name's Hank. So.
Cool.
And a crappy would probably just be the homework load. This is probably my busiest work week. So
Yeah. Yep, we're into it. Usually the like pace of the semester is a little bit slower before we're really into it, right? But like we can't do anything about it because it's so compressed. It's tough. I'm with you. Ben, tell us about you.
I'd say a happy this week is I finished my stats test yesterday.
All
So that
right.
was nice to get
So
that
you had
over
an
with.
you had an
That
exam
was kind of
already.
stressing me out.
Yeah.
Like all of the weekend. Yeah. And then a crappy is probably the 6 a.m. practice this morning.
Whatever doesn't kill you
Kinda
makes you
getting used to
stronger,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go back and take a nap after that, or are you just up for the day?
Today I was up for the day, but last week I took a nap.
Yeah.
So it just
All right.
depends on how I'm feeling.
Yep. College gives you a lot of flexibility about managing your schedule, right? And you just got to figure out what works for you to get everything done and do it well. Good deal. Cole,
I
Cole,
had,
are you in the dark?
yeah, I'll try.
All right.
Sorry.
That's fine. No, it's cool. It's cool. It's a vibe.
A happy would be that I got a 99 on my business test.
Nice. Very nice.
And then a crappy, my crappy's not even gonna sound that bad. I was just gonna say I gotta get up at 7:30 every morning
Yeah.
for 8 a.m.
So everybody's morning comes at different times, right? And maybe your 7:30 is as bad for you as Ben's 6 o'clock is for him. So whatever you got to do to make things work. Wes, how's it going? Wait, I already talked to you. You moved on my screen. Marina,
Good morning.
hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Yep.
My happy for the week is that we had our first FCA last night, and that was really fun.
Cool.
And it was
Very
just so
good.
nice to see some different new groups of people.
Yeah.
My crappy is that our air conditioning was out in Collier last night,
Yeah.
and it was so hot in here.
My air conditioning was out in Pauling yesterday. Did you guys see that big water leak in the middle of campus that was like running water down towards Asher? So that was evidently the chilled water line, which goes around to a lot of these buildings to make the air conditioner run. So they tell me they will be working. They found one leak and fixed it yesterday. They're going to be working on a second leak today. So hopefully everything will be put right again by the end of the day today. Hey, I'm glad to hear you say that that you enjoyed an FCA meeting. I want to sort of point out to everybody that one of the weird things about this semester is that you're not able to mix with the same number of people that you usually would do, and so that's healthy, right? The fewer sort of people that you're having unmasked contact with, the kind of better our chances of isolating pockets of outbreak. But on the other hand, I've talked with a few freshmen who feel kind of more isolated at the beginning of this semester than they would in a normal semester, and especially if sort of the people that live on your hall, don't turn out to be your tribe, that that are the people that you feel you're going to be tight and friends with. Finding other groups like FCA, like ministry team, things that are sort of interest-driven groups, has a lot of value for you right now. The other thing that you can do is just kind of ride it out till we get to the next semester, and you'll have different people in different classes. But the social side of things is weird this year. So keep doing your best. This too shall pass. Maddie, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. My good would probably be that I'm caught up in all my classes, but
job.
my bad is probably I'm still at home. But I get to come back Tuesday. So
All right. How you doing? You making it?
yeah, slowly
Yeah.
but surely.
Yeah. All right. Are you healthy? You feel okay?
I think so. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
tested tomorrow just so I can go back on campus. So hopefully
right.
that's negative. Yeah.
All right. Be well. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Braden, how are you?
I'm good. My happy is football, it's going good,
Good.
and my crappy is it's kind of boring with no activities on campus yet.
Yep. Agreed. You said that football is going good. I did not realize until convocation that football was playing a reverse season. So what are you guys doing
Yeah.
this fall?
I think we're just gonna scrimmage, and then most of the games are gonna be in the spring.
All right. All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be, have you ever played a spring football season?
I have not now.
Man, all right. Well, this is going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll look forward to that. Marina, we've already talked to you. Kobe, tell us how you're doing. Where'd you go, Kobe? Did Kobe drop out on us? I don't see him
Oh,
anymore.
my bad. I was muted, I think.
Oh, there you go. Okay. How you doing?
I'm good. For my happy, I'm still having a good time on campus, enjoying myself. And then for my crappy, I'm kind of getting tired of the calf.
What's so I'm not allowed to eat in the calf anymore. Faculty and staff aren't allowed to eat in the calf this year. To help protect us, you guys too. How's the food? We've got a new contract with the calf people. How's it look this year?
I mean, like, it's decent, but it's just like the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's not
that's-
that bad, but
the space downstairs that's outside of the mailroom. Once upon
Yeah.
a time, that was a grill, and the people that ran the grill bugged out a few years ago, and they just kind of walled it up so that it doesn't look like that anymore. And now it's just study space. But part of the new contract is that they're going to put in some sort of national chain restaurant in that space. I think next year. Either next year or sometime during next year. So you can look forward, I hope, to a little bit more variety on campus for the campus dining stuff. So, all right, Maddie, have you talked to us yet?
Yeah.
All right, Casey, tell us how it's going, Casey.
My crappy is that I do not look forward to going to chemistry lab today. And my happy would be I'm going camping this weekend.
Oh, good for you. Where are you going?
Whispering Hills,
How far is that?
like 10 minutes away from campus.
Oh, that's great. That sounds really good. You guys going car camping, backpack camping? What are you doing?
No, we have a camper.
Oh, wow. Oh, that sounds like
We're
so much
going
fun.
to go to the pool every day and hopefully fish a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm jealous. I'm really jealous. My cousins both have campers that they use with their family, and my aunt and uncle just got a new camper. And my 2-year-olds, I do not think are really up to it yet. And my budget with 2 kids in daycare isn't up to it yet either. But I really think about how much I want to start taking them camping. I worry that if I tried right now, they would just run away into the woods. I'd have to like leash them for the whole 2 days that we were camping. But I don't look forward to very much as taking my kids camping sometime in the fall soon. Good deal. Good for you. McKinley, how's it going?
It's doing good. One of my happies is that I love Wednesdays. But my crappy is that my only class today is at 6 o'clock.
Ooh, what is that?
Bio lab.
Man, 6 p.m. When's it finish?
8.
Man, what are you guys doing in there?
I think today we're gonna do cell diversity.
Do you like look at microscopes? Do you know what the lab like activity is?
No, but we looked in microscopes last week. So
All right. Well, that sounds like fun. Sorry it's so late, but keep on keeping on. Tatum, you're last. Tell us how it's going.
Sorry about that.
So currently, it's my boyfriend's 6-year anniversary, so that's my happy.
That's nice.
And then my crappy is that I work at Starbucks and we just released pumpkin spice, so it's gonna get really busy.
It's so weird how we mark the changing of the season these days, right? Not these days, I mean like in America, right? Through like when we change what we sell. I was at the grocery store the other day and I saw all the pumpkins out on the front of the grocery store and I thought, gosh, it's August. But I guess they must be right because Starbucks is doing it at the same time.
Well, we release it earlier and earlier every year because like
Oh,
it gives us more money. So
yeah.
this year they're like, we'll just put it out really early.
Do you at least like the smell if you got to work around it though for the whole 2 months?
I like the smell more than what we just released, which is like our kiwi refresher.
Oh,
The
weird.
dehydrated kiwis in that kind of smells like gasoline. So like
All right.
I wouldn't recommend that drink, honestly.
You guys heard it from the source. Avoid the kiwi refresher at Starbucks. All right, Ben is popping back on with us. I haven't heard from Ben yet. Ben, can you hear me? Ben, if you can hear me, tell us. Oh, you already talked to us. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Put
Sorry.
out.
Good deal.
Nice.
Is there anybody that we haven't talked to yet? Okay, so here's what I want to do. I've got a short little PowerPoint that I want to show you. I think it'll take about 10 minutes, and after that it'll be 9:30, and we'll talk to India and her friends. The point of my PowerPoint can be summed up in a sentence, and that is you probably underestimate the amount of time that you should spend quizzing yourself versus the amount of time that you ought to spend reviewing information. So let me go over to the PowerPoint, and I'm going to take this back to the beginning, and I'm going to kind of fly through this, but basically, when you think about how much you're studying and what way you're studying, if you've got an exam coming up, say it's a history exam or a Spanish exam, which strategy do you plan to use more? Reviewing class notes and the textbook, or testing yourself with practice questions? So that's for an exam. But on the other hand, if what you had coming up was a guitar class, right, and your exam for the guitar class required you to play a song, how much time then would you spend reviewing class notes, and how much would you spend playing the guitar and practicing playing the guitar? You know, these two things seem like different situations for us. And so most of us, when we think about them, think, well, you know, for the history class, I would spend most of my time reviewing information. And for the guitar class, obviously, I would just practice the guitar. But cognitive scientists tell us that those two situations aren't really different in terms of preparing for a test. In both cases, you're being asked to do a thing, right? On the one hand, you're being asked to perform on a test. On the other hand, you're being asked to perform on the guitar. And as far as they're concerned, your preparation strategies for these two things should not be meaningfully different. And that's a surprise to most of us. Regardless of what skill you're talking about, the most effective strategy for remembering something is not to look at it in a test, but to practice recalling the information. This is why if you're in a Spanish class, or for my students in a Latin class, we talk so much about using flashcards, right? And quizzing yourself on the vocabulary or on the grammar or something like that, because what you're doing there is testing yourself. And the testing is actually what cements the stuff in your head more effectively than just reviewing it. What cognitive scientists find is that retrieval practice, that's what they call this, the testing effect, is much more effective than just plain studying a thing. So if you look here, the proportion correct goes up a lot from study once to study several times over different days to study and then practice retrieval, practice testing yourself. If you study once, you know, maybe you get 30% of the stuff right. If you study more than one time, maybe you're up to 60%. But you can get that same thing with the same amount of studying up to like 75 or 80% with retrieval practice, which is testing yourself. The testing effect is backed up by lots of science. Taking memory tests improves long-term retention. To really learn, you should quit studying and take a test. And the powerful way to improve learning and memory is to practice retrieval, which enhances long-term meaningful learning. So how can you put this into effect with the kind of studying that you do for your tests? One really useful thing to do is to pause every few minutes, close your book and notes, and just try to recall the information from memory. Ask yourself questions, see if you can remember the stuff that you've been working on, and as much as possible try and make these like the test format if you can. If your professor gives you practice questions and or practice exams, do them all. Spend a lot of time doing those. Do all the practice questions and practice exams that you have access to, and check your answers when you're finished. Figure out why you missed the questions that you did. I used to work for Kaplan. Kaplan is a test prep company, right? They sell test prep for the SAT, for the GRE, for the LSAT, all these major tests. The big benefit that you got out of taking a Kaplan class, and these aren't cheap classes either, but people take them because they're, you know, they see results after taking them. The big benefit that you got from taking them is not that I told you some secret. It's that we practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced. And the majority of the homework for these classes was practice tests. And the majority of what we did in class was to practice in person, doing questions and then talking about the answers and why the answer was X, Y, or Z. So practice, practice, practice on exam questions, practice questions, and practice exams. A lot of people find this counterintuitive. That's why I'm going over it today before we talk to the women that are joining us. Most students predicted that repeated studying would produce the best long-term retention, and that practice retrieval would produce the worst. But you find that, in fact, the opposite was true. Reviewing notes over and over isn't only, what does that say? I don't know what that word is because it's underneath your screen sharing on my screen, but it might hurt you. So other methods, reviewing notes over and over again, not only are popular, but the researchers reported that they seem to give students an illusion that they understand stuff better than they do. So studying the wrong way feels validating, but sometimes it's the opposite, right? Sometimes studying stuff over and over leaves you performing worse on the test than you expect to, because you feel like you know it from having reviewed the material over and over again. But what you're not doing is you're not replicating the situation that you're going to be in on the test, right? Which is going to ask you not to remember a thing when they show it to you, but to recall it and produce it without being shown. In other words, retrieval practice replicates the conditions of an exam better than any other kind of study, and for that reason is really helpful. Here's a good rule of thumb, and then I'm done. 30% of your study time ought to be devoted to passive activities, such as rereading your notes and textbook, and 70% of your time ought to be devoted to active strategies like testing yourself and all of the other strategies that are like that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to the speaker view, grid view. Okay. I imagine that that's a little bit surprising in terms of the 30% 70 split for most of you. But instead of sort of us talking about this, I want to kick this over to India and her friends. And I just want to invite each of them to talk for about 5 minutes about their experience coming to college and sort of developing good study habits. And then after these 15 minutes, I just want to open it up to questions from anybody who's got them. These are 3 women, smart women, who have developed good study habits as college students. So as you're listening to them, and as you're thinking about yourself and your own situation, think about questions that you might want to ask them about what they did or about whether they have any advice for you personally. All right, India, take it away.
Who wants to go first? Amber. Sure. Right. Amber's gonna go first.
Okay.
All right. Hi guys.
Hey, Amber, good to see you.
Nice to see you. All right. What I find best for studying is.
Remind them first what your field is.
Oh yeah, I'm a biomed major with a chemistry minor and might pick up a math minor for fun. We'll see.
So this is relevant for everybody that's in a chemistry lab or a bio lab, or is taking science classes.
Yeah, so first things first, always take good notes. Always listen to what your professor says. Even annotate your notes after class. Make sure that you highlight things you don't know. If you don't understand something, look in the textbook, find the vocabulary words. And I annotate everything. So if we have like a textbook, a highlighter is my favorite tool in the world. Make sure it's good for understanding like things that are harder concepts. You can simplify it down. I use flashcards a lot for like vocabulary because in my major, it's very vocabulary heavy. And then I also like to find like where I study best. So I study best like outside on a pretty day, and like I have my own place that I study. It's really helpful. And I try and set time to do homework. It's really easy to like procrastinate or get busy with sports or work. So like after work or after practice or something, I'll set a time and be like, you have this much time to rest, and then after that you need to complete these tasks before you can do this. And then lastly, I'd say if you have questions, email your professor. Just make sure you're being professional, but they want to help you, so email them with questions. And that's it.
That last one I'll validate right away. Amber was my student in this class last year, and I was always glad to hear from her, and she was really good about writing with questions, and in fact, to take her case in particular, the questions that she had and the engagement that she had helped me sort of plug her into some interest groups that I thought she might really enjoy. So do take the time to engage with your professors. We've got a faculty here that really values interpersonal interaction with students, and is looking to help you guys out with things like that. I want to follow up on a couple of things that you said. You said annotate your notes. I think everybody will understand what you mean by annotating books, even textbooks. But you want to explain what you mean by annotating notes, because I think that's really helpful.
So the reason I annotate notes is because during lecture, professors often go super fast. So like you're just writing, and it's hard to like understand when you're just writing. So I like to go back, read them, annotate things I don't understand, look in the book, see what the book says about it, because sometimes the book will explain it in a different way than the professor does. That might be easier for you to understand or just solidify your understanding. So just annotate to check for understanding and to make sure you know what you're doing.
It's also really useful in terms of like making your notes more studyable, right? Go back, put headers on them, sort of highlight the things, underline the things that are most important. All of this is a really active form of engaging with your textbook or your notes. And the more actively you're engaging with them all, the more your brain's working, and the better you're gonna be able to stick the stuff. So I'm glad that you said that. The other thing I want to ask you about is the sort of where and when you study issue, because I think that's really important for a lot of people, especially people that are pushing themselves hard. I'll say that when I was a freshman, I was a classics major. I was taking a lot of Latin and Greek classes, and I found that the kind of brain work that I needed to do for those classes, I just couldn't do late at night. Other classes I could do late at night. I could write papers late at night, but I was not smart enough in this particular way late at night in a way that I was early in the morning. And so I had to flip my schedule a little bit halfway through my first semester, and I had to start getting up an hour and a half earlier when nobody was awake, just to go down to like the common room and quietly do my work in the morning. But this question of like the where and when seems like it's kind of trivial or logistic, but the where and when may really have a lot of effect on how well you're able to study and learn things. So Amber, do you want to say like specifically what times, you said a place, but also what times are good for you? And then again, like some times and places that you found did not work.
Yeah, so I find that I work better after accomplishing something, so after class or after work or after practice, because I'm already in the mindset of do. So if I stay in that pace, it helps me to be more productive.
Well, that's good. That's very good. What was a time or a place that you found did not work for you?
Early in the morning. I cannot wake up early and study. So if I'm going to study for something, I've got to do it the night before.
That's good. So that's one lesson to come out of this, is that you got to know yourself, right? Everybody's got to figure out the way that their brain works and the way that they need to approach studying and learning in college. And usually it's going to take, a little bit of self-discovery to figure that out. And a lot of times it's going to be different from what your friend needs. My roommate freshman year could do all of his work at night, and he could listen to music while he worked. I couldn't listen to any music. I needed silence, it turned out. And all of those are the kinds of things that you got to figure out about yourself. So thanks, Amber. You want to pass the computer?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Katie, and I'm a psychology major. Amber hit on like a lot of the big things, I would say, because I also agree that like studying outside and not like in a room, like in your bedroom especially, that's not gonna work. At least it doesn't work for me, because my bed's right there and it's like a really like just a distraction. So I study best at like the picnic tables outside, like right by Collier and Allen, because it's just like a good way to like, you're there and you can like have like people around you, but you don't have like distractions like right in your face. So I do that like a lot. And I also like, I don't annotate my notes, because I mean, I do sometimes, but that's just not like the most effective way for me. I tend to like get a whiteboard and I like rewrite my notes, or like I'll go through and I'll find like the key points and I'll like rewrite them, because I feel like it like instills it into my brain like better. And I do that a lot on whiteboards too, because if like you do it on a whiteboard, then you can like quiz yourself and go back through and like find pieces that, oh, like I forgot this, or oh, like, And then also I make Quizlets. Quizlet is like my best friend. I use like every tool, like you can test yourself on Quizlet. And not only do you have to like make it, so like when you're making it, it's kind of like another form of rewriting your notes, but also like you can just like flip it over and obviously like just quiz yourself that way, or you can do like the matching and all that stuff. And that like, that's like the thing that I do like the most. So
lots of good stuff there. I like the not in your bedroom point. Beds are really distracting. And for that matter, your whole sort of life is there in your bedroom, kind of calling you away from what you're trying to focus on. I find that I work best in an office kind of situation where I don't have snacks nearby, or where like I've got, a little bit of peanuts and some water and tea, but I don't have an excuse to go upstairs to my kitchen and make myself a cup of coffee or make myself a big snack or something. So you got to sort of know what your distractions are. And the other thing is that, like, they say about beds that studying in your bed or doing other things in your bed actually kind of hurts your ability to go to sleep. And this is the thing that, like, we try real hard with our kids, not to encourage them to play on their beds, because then we try and get them to take a nap and they just want to play on their beds. And you think, well, I'm 18, 19, I'm different from a toddler, but our brains kind of work the same way. So you were talking about rewriting, and I like that you said that. So rewrite things on a whiteboard. There's a whiteboard right behind you, I see. A lot of times you can just rewrite things on a piece of paper. For my, so one of you guys is in a Spanish class at least. What I tell my Latin students is that, like, for remembering the endings, that you should just write them out and write them out over and over and over again. And when you get done with that piece of paper, just ball it up and throw it away, because the writing it is actually the thing that helps. You mentioned flashcards, right? Quizlet and flashcards. I used to make flashcards until I realized that the actual, like, making of the flashcards was helping me more than quizzing myself. And so for me, rewriting this stuff was the most powerful thing, because my brain was processing it in different ways. The quizzing myself thing, although I just gave you a PowerPoint telling you how important it is, was not the most important thing for me. But I like your point about using Quizlet to do both ends. One warning about tools like Quizlet is there are some cheaty materials floating around on there, and the honor code says do not use cheaty materials on Quizlet or places like that. So some people will put actual test questions up on Quizlet, and you should avoid those because it makes the world worse when you cheat. Anything else you want to add, Katie?
The only other thing I would say is I also, I find that, like, sometimes if you study in, like, groups, that can help. Like, I don't think that you should always study with people. I feel like that, like, you can find your best concentration when you're by yourself. But I also think mixing it up and, like, being around other people can help, because it can keep, like, if you're all on task and you're all doing, like, your own separate thing, but it's like working together kind of, and it's not as easy to get distracted and be like, oh, like, I can just get on my phone for a little bit, or like whatever the excuse may be.
It's they call that an accountability buddy, right? You're keeping each other accountable for staying on task, even if you're not working on the same thing. If you just make a study date with somebody and say, I'm going to do my thing over there, you do your thing over here, you're gonna feel bad for getting distracted more than if you're just accountable to yourself. Yeah, that's great. You want to pass it over to India? Thank you, Katie.
Hello. So again, my major is elementary ed. So a lot of the things that I'm studying right now are psychology based, and figuring out how to handle all these kids. Especially right now I'm in a special ed class, so a lot of my studying revolves around scenarios. So I come up with different scenarios and how to address it and figure out which way works best, which that can work in a lot of different majors. Like, let's see, in psychology, that would help a lot because you can figure out which goes with which. Amber and Katie did a really good job of covering stuff. See, one thing that I do is I have to study with people around me, not people that are talking and stuff, but people who are also focused on their work, because it helps me to stay focused and, like, not get distracted. I can't study in my room, or else I won't. A big group of my friends, we go out in front of the dorm and we just study in a circle. without talking to each other. It's really quiet. But we do take breaks. So like you have to take it small breaks, like maybe 5 minutes. There's a thing, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a study where people study better if they study for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. But while they're studying, if there's a distraction that's going on in their mind, write it down, and during that 5 minutes you can do that distraction and get it out of your mind.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see. I do use Quizlet. I make my own. I never use other people's Quizlets because that doesn't help me. That's other people's thoughts. It's not my thought. And so it doesn't help me if I use other people. So I don't recommend doing that. And another benefit of like you doing your own Quizlet is that when you create it, you're looking at it, and that's another way of studying. So like you're typing in the definition of each thing, or you're creating all these scenarios and you're processing how each one works.
That's good. I like the breaks point, especially writing down distractions. I might have to start doing that to like write my distractions down so that I don't address them right away, because I sort of fear losing them. And so I feel like, oh, I've got to check my email right away, where I'll forget. So that's a good idea. The other thing that's great about breaks is moving. If you're sitting down and studying for 45 minutes and you're going to take a 5-minute break, stand up, walk around the building. If you're outside, walk to the end of the quad and back. Do something to get your brain moving and your limbs and your blood moving as well. You mentioned having people around and how that helps you. I always sort of struggle with distracting noises, and as I got in more and more into like work where I had to concentrate a lot, even little noises I found distracting. And so I can't study at coffee shops anymore. Because I'll get distracted by people's conversations around me. Like I have a hard time like engrossing myself in the thing that I do. And so what I did is I downloaded a white noise generator for my phone. And I've always got my phone with me, right? And I've always got a pair of headphones. And so if I'm in a place where I need to be able to tune out everything that's going on around me, I just turn on this white noise generator, and that's been really, really helpful for me. So, thank you, women, for your advice. I wanna turn it over to everybody else and just ask if anybody has any thoughts, questions, comments for the three of you.
I just want to add, like, everybody studies differently, so the things that work for me won't work for all of you. So it's just important that you find what works best for you, and maybe try a few different things if you're struggling. But other than that, probably keep doing what you're doing. If you're improving from it, then.
I want to let's tolerate the silence for a minute. I'm gonna ask everybody again if you've got any questions, and if you don't have any questions, I'm not gonna let you go yet. I'm gonna cold call on students and just sort of ask you what has worked for you. So let's take 15 seconds, see if anybody's got any questions. Okay, Bethany, comment then. What works for you?
I actually really like to study, so I usually also study outside. And I think the thing that works best for me is Quizlet. Like, I've always used that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I always quiz myself. I do not like to review my notes as much. So.
Well, 30/70, so it sounds like you're on the right side of that. Felicia, what about you? You clearly like Zooming from outside. Is that part of your study habits? What's good studying for you?
I've actually never studied outside before, but I think that it would help just because I do enjoy being outside and everything. But I also really like doing flashcards, especially because I'm in French right now and I've never
Yeah.
taken French. So doing like the alphabet and the numbers has helped a lot.
Good. I like flashcards for languages a lot. The other thing too is that if you're in a discipline that you haven't taken a class in before, um, your professor probably has some really good advice for you about how to study. Um, and if they haven't told you already what that advice is, ask them. You know, if you've got an exam coming up and you're worried about it, ask like, hey, chem lab professor, I want to do well in this, but I'm worried. How can I do well in this chem lab? How can I study for this more effectively? Jake, what about you? What's good studying for you?
Studying is kind of new for me. It's not like I never had to do it in high school, just not in the quantity that we have now, especially in the sub-session format. But I've found some luck studying, just kind of being in my room. It's quieter there. I enjoy listening to music while I study, and it's just I can't really find comfortable seating. Like picnic tables aren't really comfortable for me, so just kind of being in my desk, it's just I'm able to situate myself better and just kind of be in some quiet.
Yeah, that's good. Desk, especially, like if you've got a good work setup at your desk, that's really valuable. What kind of music do you listen to when you study?
It ranges a lot, but there's a type of music called like lo-fi, and it's not quite white noise. It's like instrumentals, but like not of like regular music. It's like hip hop or pop, just like it's just like a beat with no lyrics really. And there are a lot of like playlists or like live streams that you can find where people are just throwing together songs of that.
That's good. The sort of no words thing, I'm glad that you said that. I used to find at least that like music with words was really distracting for me because I would find myself paying attention to that. So I would try and find music without words before I gave up on music altogether. Turns out I'm distractible. That's good. That's good. Thank you. McKinley, what about you?
What I do in bio, the lecture goes really, really fast. So after I have my bio class, I like to go back and rewrite the notes, more organized. I like to color code a lot.
Good.
So I color code like headings and stuff of chapters or specific notes. So yeah.
I like that you said after class because a lot of people just think about studying as a thing that you do right before the exam. And if you spread it out, it can make a really big difference, right? If you can structure some way to review your notes every day after class, that can be a really valuable thing to add to your to the way that you study, because you're going to have more interaction with it. One more, and then we can call it quits for the day, I guess. Ben, what about you? What's good for your study practice?
So like I'm with Jake on this one. I like staying in my room, turning on music, but like in the literal studying aspect, I like to write things out. I like to use note cards. I like to repeat things and just try to memorize it over and over again.
Good. I'm glad that everybody has such a clear handle on their own individuality about this, because it really is about like figuring out the way that your brain works. And I can give my students advice about the way that I learn, but that's not always going to be the way that they learn or that they need to approach stuff. So work on figuring out what works for you guys, and good luck on your exams if you've got exams coming up. I want to, real quick before we go anywhere, I want to share my screen again and just point to what's coming up in our class. So I need to close this tab, go back to this tab, go to home. So today is studying in college. It is almost the end of August. Our next class next Wednesday is going to be our first discussion of the Common Reader, Just Mercy. And when you click into these, it's not got really useful information right now. It's just got the Zoom link. I'm going to start filling out these assignments so that it's got the relevant information. But if you go up to the course syllabus, fall 20, and I'm going to share that syllabus now instead. It shows you what's coming up soon. Do I have it open? I don't have it open. Okay. I'll go back to Chrome and I'll just open it there. So what we're doing next week is we're reading the introduction to Just Mercy. So it's pages 3 through 18. And I want you to read it before class. We'll talk about it in class, and I'm going to introduce an essay that we'll do on it before too long. The other thing that I want to point out is that a week from next Wednesday is when your faculty and staff interview paper is due. So 2 weeks from today, you've got to be done with your interview and the paper that you've got to write based on it. And we'll do presentations in class. I want you to aim for your presentation. There's about 15 of us. Your presentation ought to take about 2 or 3 minutes, so not real long. But I just want to remind you that this is coming up and that it's something that you want to have done 2 weeks from today. So next week we're going to read 15 pages-ish of Just Mercy. The week after that, we're going to do the faculty and staff interviews. Anybody have any questions? All right, well, we're done for today. You guys keep being safe, take care. Let me know if you've got any questions or anything that I can help with as your advisor. And I'll look forward to talking to you again next week. All right, bye-bye. India, thank you so much for to Amber, and to Katie as well for helping us out with this stuff today. I think that was really good. And in normal land, if we ever get back to normal land, I owe you guys each a coffee sometime. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.